Welcome back, guys. Or if you're new here, this is Automotive Anonymous, and that's the 2024 Subaru Forester Limited in the color Subaru likes to call Crimson Red Pearl. And if you're new to the Subaru brand, there's a lot that I want to share with you guys. I've driven probably about a dozen of these. I've owned a couple Subarus myself, so there's a lot of interesting things you might want to know if you're considering a Subaru or a Subaru Forester. So you can expect to see a walk around. All the specs, initial driving impressions, 0 to 60 on GPS, and then my final thoughts to help you decide what do you do with the last year of the 5th generation Subaru Forester. Do you buy it? Do you leave it on the lot? Maybe look at the next generation Forester or its other crossover competition. Well, big thanks to Twin Falls Subaru for letting me borrow theirs for the day. I'll link this one below if you guys are interested. Otherwise, let's dive right in with this review. Subarus are pretty popular, especially in snowy climates like this in the Pacific Northwest or up in Canada. They typically sell over 100,000 Subaru Foresters every single year in North America alone. But it's really interesting how Subaru has gone about naming their models and designing their logo. Their logo looks like a bunch of stars, and most of their models are named for things that resemble being outdoors, like the Crosstrek, obviously the Forester, the Outback, the Ascent, like you're climbing some mountain peak. It's really interesting how they go about naming their vehicles. But the Forester is pretty popular for a lot of reasons, including the fact that for 2024, it starts as low as $27,000 for a base model. There are 6 trim levels. The Limited is technically the 4th highest as far as pricing for MSRP, but it's the 5th highest on Subaru's website. So this one starts at about $34,000, but after destination and the couple extra goodies that this one has, it MSRPs for a little bit over $38,000. Twin Falls Subaru has already showed that this one is discounted at least $1,000. There might be more wiggle room, I don't know, I don't work for them. But you can find a pretty good deal on a Subaru Forester. There's no reason to pay MSRP or above MSRP, especially when a short road trip somewhere could get you at least $1,000 off. And if you're going to consider the Limited trim level, you get a lot of extra features, such as the leather seats, dual climate controls, the power liftgate, these fancier 18-inch wheels, if that's your style, and you get blind spot monitoring with the rear cross traffic alert, as well as a bunch of other safety features, which I have all of those on my Subaru Outback Wilderness, and they're well worth the money in my opinion. Plus, the Forester is a top safety pick plus, so not only is it going to help you avoid accidents with all the active and passive safety features, but if you ever end up in an accident, which I hope you aren't, you're likely going to be pretty well off, all things considered, in this vehicle rather than something else. If you like the Subaru Forester, the color Crimson Red, or my video so far, please consider liking my video. That small act of kindness, giving me a thumbs up, really goes a long way in helping my channel to grow, and I appreciate it. Thank you guys. One of the best changes that Subaru did with the refresh a couple years ago was they gave you LED headlights across the board as standard, so that all the Forester models would have that top safety pick plus rating. But if you want even more lighting than you already get with these, you can always upgrade. Get some LED headlight bulbs, fog lights, pod lights, an LED bar, anything like that, similar to what I did on the lower grille of my Outback Wilderness. If you're interested in lighting upgrades for any vehicle, check out Novsight. Use my discount code Anonymous for 20% off your order. I'll link all of that below in the description if you're interested. Otherwise, these are really well sized. They're about 15 feet long. The wheelbase is just under 9 feet, so it's planted on the road. It's roughly 6 feet wide and 5.5 feet tall, and they weigh about 3,500 pounds depending on how it's spec'd with what options and materials it has. They can tow up to 1,500 pounds, or if you buy the Wilderness, up to 3,000 pounds. It has a payload capacity of 900 pounds, so you can hold 900 pounds worth of people and stuff within or above your Forester. And it has 8.7 inches of ground clearance, a final drive ratio of 370, and it can do a full circle in about 35 feet. Just a few more things to mention here. The gas door is on the passenger side. When you lock the vehicle, the gas doors lock, so no one's gonna be siphoning your gas, but when you unlock, it opens up. It's a 16.6 gallon tank. This one's rated for 26 city, 33 highway, so max possible road trip and range according to the EPA is about 550 miles. The wheels and tires on this, as I mentioned, it's an 18-inch wheel, so the tire, it's a Falcon all season. It's a 225, 55, 18, so you trade an inch of sidewall on the tire for an extra inch of wheel. And then it has proximity key features, so you can lock, unlock, power liftgate, panic button, but leave that in your pocket because you have proximity key features to lock and unlock the vehicle. The driver's side door panel looks really good on this. There's a lot of nice contrasting soft touch materials, some Hobby Lobbing white stitching, the lunar moon landing surface, and a bottle holder, some snacks, Harman Kardon speakers, and a medium-sized, actually that's the small-size Subaru on the door sill. All-weather mats, rubberized pedals, OBD 2-port, hood release, fuse box switch is where I mounted the activation switch for my Novsight LED light bar, which was pretty cool. And then all the options you have on this Limited, trip reset, ventilation, lighting stock, and then the nice leather 10-way heated, power adjusted seats with the moonroof up top. Sitting inside here is a really nice place to be. There's a whole lot of natural light that comes through these ginormous windows and that panel moonroof. Otherwise, it's a heated leather wrapped wheel. The horn, it's loud, but it is quite high pitched. Voice and volume controls on the left. Adaptive cruise control settings on the right with the sport and intelligent mode. That doesn't help you accelerate faster from a launch. It only helps you accelerate faster from a roll because it's basically like the CVT is downshifted one gear. Otherwise, start it up with the push button start. The needles dance, it roars to life. We have the paddle shifters on the back to simulate the 8 speeds of this CVT. And then you have the toggles right here to go through the center display. And then the info button to go through the upper display, which is pretty cool. Otherwise, this one has the 8-inch screen that comes with the Harman Kardon speakers. When you go into reverse, the trajectory lines do move, but the camera looks kind of cloudy because we have some snow on the back of it. Otherwise, these things do really well launching through snow with the symmetrical all-wheel drive. And then you have your 12-volt, your USBs, and your aux right down there. Piano black around the shifter. Parking brake, auto vehicle hold, snow and dirt, deep snow and mud are your 2X mode options. No front-facing camera because this isn't the wilderness. Heated seats, cup holders, and you may notice that Subaru took away the CD player on all 2024 Subarus, which is a shame. They didn't go through the hassle, though, of redesigning the center console, so you still have a CD slot, just nothing to use it for in the traditional sense. Otherwise, 12-volt down there. This one has the compass, the auto-dimming mirrors, which also go onto the side, which you can see the turn signals and the blind spot monitoring on this as well. And then your garage door openers. This one has the silly slide. And then LED lighting to check yourself out, and a place to store your sunglasses. Otherwise, let's turn it off and let's hop in the back. The back door panel follows all the same theme and design language. There's really nothing new back here to talk about. You have a little bit of grip in case you have to get up to those roof rails, which is much appreciated. The seats do recline. This is the 40 split, easy to lift and lower, and then the 60 split on the other side. But sitting behind myself, I'm 5'11". Without the seats reclined, I have that much room in front of my knees. Double map pockets, the pamphlets. I have everything I need back here minus the heated seats. And then I have a couple cup holders right there. Pretty sturdy armrest. It is a little bit on the narrow side, and otherwise that natural light follows the same intrusion to the rear of the Forester. But let's hop out and I'll show you the hatch. There's a lot going on the back of the Forester. There's the secret pin code, which I have a video on how to set that, as well as a bunch of other features with these vehicles. But there's 4 main ways to open it. You can either push the button on the dashboard, push the button underneath the Subaru emblem, climb through the back seats, or use the remote and let the power liftgate that you paid so much for do its job. Otherwise, back here, it's actually pretty spacious. 29 cubic feet with the rear seats up, about 74 with them down. You have these switches to drop the seats. You have the all-weather tray down here, the cargo bag, the mesh bag, and just a tiny bit of storage behind the driver's side wheel well. Harman Kardon sub on the back of the passenger side, and then your extra storage and your spare tire, which unfortunately is just a steel spare tire or a temporary spare on this one. Otherwise, you can lock and lower or just lower. The rear passenger side looks identical to the rear driver's side. No new surprises back here. You still get folding seats. It's the 60 split, and then you have your map pockets. So either backseat occupant could be the backseat driver. And if you're fortunate enough to ride shotgun, you have the proximity key features up here as well. Otherwise, the door panel looks identical to the driver's side, minus a different control panel right there. You obviously don't have all the same controls that the driver gets. Small Subaru on the door sill. No power options for the seat though. My backpack thankfully isn't alive and doesn't acknowledge the difference, but you do have the bar and the recline handle. Otherwise, still, the leather seats in Subarus are really comfortable. And then you have no storage on the transmission tunnel or above the lock and glove box. The key for that is inside the remote. That's another tip I share on my Secrets of Subaru video. Otherwise, it's decently sized. There's no plugins or anything in here like there is on the Outback and the Legacy though. So with that said, let's come around to the front. I'll pop the hood and I'll show you what the 2.5 liter boxer engine looks like. Under the hood, you have the 2.5 liter boxer engine. The Forester is the only Subaru that has a ginormous engine cover. Otherwise, these are really well designed. You get airflow through the grille, through the filter, the box, the throttle body, into the intake runners right there. And then because it's a rear drive type of all-wheel drive system, you have a front-facing engine. So the serpentine belt, the alternator, the dipstick, they're all in the front, easy to get to. Subaru also thankfully gives you the oil filter up top, so you don't knock that off when you're off-roading. Otherwise, all of your reservoirs are up top, easy to get to as well. Battery on the driver's side, fuse boxes throughout, and overall, it's a pretty good engine, making about 182 peak horsepower at 5,600 RPM, and about 176 foot-pound-feet of torque in the low 4,000 RPM range. But let's drop the hood, take it for a drive. This is my favorite part. I'm gonna time travel and teleport you guys to one of my favorite roads. We'll take it for a drive, we'll do the 0 to 60, and then we'll meet back here for my final thoughts. Initial driving impressions of the Forester Limited is overall, I've driven a lot of Foresters, and if you guys follow my channel, you know that I really like them for a lot of reasons. The visibility is fantastic. It's only about 15 feet long, so you can see right down the side of the vehicle, right down with the rear view mirror. The backpack's having a good time. On this Limited, you get pretty nice materials. Everything is soft touch. You have physical controls for the HVAC, for the heated seats. You don't have the extended thigh bolstering that you sometimes get on touring Subarus. But overall, it's really nice. My biggest gripes with it are probably the 2.5 liter boxer. It's not super powerful if you don't live at altitude like I am, or you don't have the vehicle weighted down too much or have it full of people and occupants at 900-pound payload capacity. It does pretty good, although I really wish that we did have the turbo option for the Forester. Brakes work pretty well at maybe a 20% pedal. It does a pretty nice job. And then this one has the Harman Kardon speakers, which are really cool. Something neat is if you guys get the wilderness trim level, you can actually turn on the front-facing camera and have that on while you're driving on that upper screen. But overall, it does a really good job. I think my other gripe is the CVT. Sometimes it pretends to be an automatic with those 8 simulated gears and it shifts around. Sometimes it holds the RPM like a CVT is designed to, or holds the peak horsepower rating to help you accelerate better. Subaru's all-wheel drive system is really good. It's better than basically every other economy class crossover. And this being a top safety pick, plus there are a lot of reasons to really love the Forester over the RAV4, over the CR-V, the Mazda CX-5. Especially if you live somewhere that gets a lot of snow like the Pacific Northwest or up in Canada, you're going to want to consider a Forester. You're at least going to want to test drive one. But my gripe has to do with the CVT. I've never had any CVT problems. It seems like only 1 in 100 people, if that even, is the squeaky wheel we hear about on the forums who does have a CVT failure. But I wish that the CVT inspired more confidence. I do think considering an extended warranty if you buy a modern Subaru is worth it, because of how the CVT is connected to that better all-wheel drive system. It's kind of a big procedure to change out. You can't just rebuild one for 3 or 4 grand like you used to be able to for a transmission from a reputable shop that gets a warranty. You basically just have to replace the whole unit, and that can cost upwards of 8 to 10 grand, which is insane for a transmission. So for that reason, I'd consider buying an extended warranty. Otherwise, I don't really have any issues with this. I think this is one of the best vehicles, period, in the world. Visibility, drivability, confidence, all-wheel drive, 9 inches of ground clearance, basically. This does everything really well. You can even fit full-size people in the back seats, and you have a giant pano moonroof. These are really good. There's a reason why Subarus stay on the road so long, and why people who buy Subarus often don't go back to other vehicles. But let's get to the 0 to 60 and then my final thoughts. 0 to 60 in the 24 Forester Limited. Traction's off, sport mode is on. I'll brake rev the CVT. Let's go. CVT holding RPM like it's supposed to. And I apologize apologize, guys. This is the first time my GPS has failed to connect. These typically during the winter like today, when we have maybe 3,600 feet of density altitude, they get about 8.5 to 9 seconds 0 to 60 true time. During the summer though, with the hotter air, the less oxygen density, we usually get 10 to 11 seconds. All right, guys, my final thoughts of the 2024 Subaru Forester Limited. This might be the last 5th gen Limited Forester that I ever drive. I guess we'll see. And I really like this body style. I really like the upgrades that it has. And I really like this generation as a whole. I'm personally not as excited for the next generation coming because I don't like the giant 11.6-inch screen that my own Subaru has. Hybrid Subarus in the past have not been very impressive. The Crosstrek from the last generation failed. Although I'm hoping that this new hybrid Forester that comes out next year will be better than the previous one. But we'll see. What we know is what we have in front of us. And I think this is a really good vehicle. I think for, $37,000, this is a steal. It's gonna keep you and your family safe. It's gonna get you to the trailheads or soft roading or wherever you wanna go, while averaging about 30 miles per gallon if you keep your foot out of it. So I really don't have any reservations in recommending this. I do think you should always test drive the Honda, the Toyota, even the Nissan, heck. Do all the Japanese competitors, because in general, the Japanese vehicles are built more driver-centric focused, more reliably, and they often keep safety as a top priority. So I think any of them are good, but you need to find the right one for you. If you like my video, please consider liking my video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Your small act of kindness really goes a long way in helping my channel to grow. Otherwise, comment below what you want to see more of, what you like and don't like about the Forester. Share your thoughts, your mother's maiden name, and your social security number. Share all of those details in the comments below. And I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Take care until the next one. See ya.